Coming to you live from Nairobi, Kenya. This is TV47 Weekend on the 28th day of January 2023. To our top 3 stories just for you. Tonight, fallen former education CS to be laid to rest on the 11th of February, with government pledging to give the family full support.
We have had a family meeting and we have given the condolences from the President and from the government of the Republic of Kenya.
This as his brother was laid to rest. Also tonight, the Azimio Brigade maintains it will not be intimidated to cancel their Sunday meeting at the Jacaranda grounds.
Safari hii tuko pamoja kama mrengo wa Azimio ya kwamba kukomboa ushindi wetu.
Further watering down claims that some leaders plan to give the meeting a wide berth.
Tuko Azimio kukaa, hatuko kuenda. Na saa hii kesho party leader atakuwa hapa.
Plus, over 10 schools remain shut in parts of the Kerio Valley.
Kwa sababu tumefunga mashule, shule ya Keptule Primary wamefunga mpaka ya Keptule Girls. Shule 7 wamefunga sahi.
As government now declares banditry a threat to national security.
We'll get out of the armory, we will go by land, we will go by air, we will follow them to wherever they go, and we are going to smoke them out from the caves and the forests, wherever they have been hiding, whenever they attack our people.
Good evening, welcome to the broadcast. Catherine Simaloi is on the sign language docket and I'm yours truly, Stanley Nyerungita. You can always talk to us on our socials below your screens. Now to a top story, the government says it will support the family of Professor George Magoha to ensure a befitting send-off for the former Education Cabinet Secretary who died last Tuesday. Kenyans will have a chance to view Magoha's body on Wednesday at the University of Nairobi and Jogo House, the headquarters of the Ministry of Education. Elizabeth Atieno begins our bulletin.
Saturday morning, senior government officials led by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua paid a visit to late Professor Magoha's Lavington home to condole with the family, which is mourning the death of 2 brothers.
And I have lost someone that I think is of my kind. I don't know how many other truthful men now are remaining. So we want to say that we really as a government are very saddened by the loss, and we ask the family to take heart.
The government pledging to give the family full support to ensure Professor Magoha gets a befitting send-off, including flying his body home using a military helicopter for the burial slated for the 11th of February in Gem, Siaya County.
Again, the family did request that the government helps to airlift the body, and we have agreed, and the Kenya Defence Forces will provide a military helicopter to take the body home together with members of the family on the Friday preceding the Saturday burial.
Gachagua, who presented President William Ruto's condolence message, eulogized Magoha as a diligent public servant who put national interest before his own.
And I want once more to reiterate that Professor Magoha, the late, was a great man, a distinguished public servant, a committed educationist, a very good surgeon, and more than that, a very humble man. But for me, as a truthful man like myself, he says what is in his mind.
Finally, St. Mary's Yala, as a Minister of Education, he put enough money to develop the infrastructure. As an MP, I only did 1 class. All the other buildings were facilitated by Professor Magoha. So for this, I'm very grateful.
ICT Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo and Interior PS Raymond Omolo are set to represent the government in the burial plans. On Wednesday next week, members of the public will get an opportunity to view the body, which will be taken to the University of Nairobi and the Ministry of Education headquarters. This as the family was also bidding farewell to Professor Magoha's younger brother Alex Nyambera Magoha in Gem, Siaya County. Friends and family who spoke during Nyambera's burial eulogized the two brothers as loving, caring and resourceful, with former Defense Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa calling on Kenyans to pray for the family, which is struggling to overcome the grief of losing two brothers in a span of 2 weeks.
Indeed, though we are all here to condole with the family, we cannot say we know your pain. And the tragedy that has befallen your family reminds me of what James Baldwin once said in his book, Fire Next Time, that you do not know the meaning of pain. You do not know the meaning of torture. And if you see one in pain or in torture, you may sympathize, or you may even empathize with them, but you still do not know the meaning of that pain until the red hot iron is against your own skin.
Hakuna tabu. We have not died in a war. We are dying, those who have died natural death.
Elizabeth Atieno, TV 47.
Let's dive to matters politics, and it is all systems go for the Azimio rally scheduled for Sunday at Jacaranda grounds in Embakasi East constituency, despite calls to cancel the gathering. This comes amid speculations that a section of Azimio key leaders might not attend the rally as they warm up to the government side.
A section of Azimio leaders Saturday toured the Jacaranda grounds, the venue of the rally touted as the beginning of the opposition's push to put pressure on the government days after producing what they say is evidence of being rigged of their election win.
Tunajua ya kwamba ni kuibua tuliibua ushindi, na kwa hivyo sasa tumeshikana pamoja tuweze kurudisha ushindi wetu to State House.
The leaders who toured the grounds, led by Embakasi East Member of Parliament Babu Owino, said it is all systems go as far as the rally is concerned, and that they have done considerable grassroots mobilization to ensure the grounds are packed to capacity.
Hii kiwanja inabeba watu milioni 44. Kesho tunataka tuweke watu milioni 41. Ijae mpaka itapike. So that wenye wanasimama on the way of change, the wheels of change shall crush them.
This coming amid speculations that there could be a rift within Azimio quarters and that senior members of the coalition party plan to give the meeting a wide berth.
Tuko Azimio kukaa, hatuko kuenda. Na saa hii kesho party leader atakuwa hapa.
Safari hii tuko pamoja kama mrengo wa Azimio ya kwamba kukoboa ushindi wetu.
The meeting is also expected to be used as an assurance platform to Azimio supporters after key allies of Odinga in the August general election, especially from the Mount Kenya region, are said to have broken ranks with him and even met with President William Ruto and his deputy at the State House days ago.
Venye Kalonzo alituambia tukae, tunakaa hivyo hivyo.
In a tweet earlier today, Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga insisted that the rally will go on as planned, despite calls to have them cancel the much publicized political gathering, his close allies exuding confidence that Kenyans will flock the grounds to receive further direction from the coalition.
Wenye wamekuja hapa walianza kuingia hapa jana. Unaona already kiwanja imeshajaa ika quarter way full.
Odinga, who has already told his supporters not to recognize Ruto's presidency, is expected to declare civic disobedience to his supporters and ask his supporters to boycott products associated with individuals and companies that are said to have participated in what they say is the August 9th, 2022 presidential election fraud. President William Ruto on Friday weighed in on planned meetings by his opponents, calling on Kenyans to desist from attending the gatherings.
Watoto wenu mumewapeleka bunge kule Arusha, mumewapeleka wengine ng'ambo, alafu watoto hawa wa Kenya ati mnawapeleka Kamukunji ati na Chagaranda ati waende wapigane mawe.
Sylvia Nyongesa, TV 47.
And legal minds in the country have faulted the proposal by Attorney General Justin Muturi to amend sections of the Constitution to embed the office of the opposition in the Constitution without subjecting the country to a referendum. While Muturi proposed to make the changes that touch on the composition of Parliament, lawyer Bob Mkangi says the amendment will touch on the sovereignty of the Kenyan people, which will require a referendum.
The President
As the Azimio Brigade plans to begin their series of planned protests, the government is reportedly on its own blitz aimed to taming opposition chief Raila Odinga. The Attorney General Justin Biden Muturi is said to have held series of meetings from this week as they plan to hand out martial support from MPs as they seek to ratify proposals to embed the office of official opposition in constitution without taking the country through a referendum, as requested by President Ruto in his letter to both National Assembly and Senate in early January. Part of the recommendations made including adjusting articles of the Constitution which focus on the constitution of the both houses of Parliament. The Kenya Kwanza government is said to be pushing for amendments to Article 108 of the Constitution to have the first runners-up in the presidential race and their running mate become the minority leaders at the National Assembly and the Senate respectively.
The question is, why do they want to create this office? The question should not be, can they create? Because even if, for assuming that Parliament can do it, the primary question will be, why are you creating this office? What is it that you are repairing in the governance structure of Kenya that is amiss right now? Because if actually we are creating these positions and already we are earmarking the people to hold them, it is a very narrow imagination. It is to meet the exigencies of current political environment. Does this work for the future of our children? Probably not.
The proposals will also have an impact on the Articles 97 and 98 on the membership of the National Assembly and the Senate respectively, following the increase in members to 350 and 68 in the National Assembly and the Senate respectively, to accommodate the opposition leader and his deputy without going to the referendum.
Sometimes I even think it's sort of the opposition being, it's government teasing opposition, because it's like in sports, at halftime, let's say football, the coach of the leading side actually walking to the dressing room of the losing side and saying, I think this is how you guys should play. I think you should add a midfielder so that you beat us.
But according to constitutional lawyer Bobby Mkangi, the proposal is likely to be challenged as it offends Article 255 of the Constitution, which outlines matters in the Constitution which cannot be amended without a referendum.
Tinker 255 without asking wananchi again. So if you want to touch on any of the provisions within 255, whether you want to remove, say, functions of Parliament should not be under 255, or we want to change functions to roles or something else, you have to go back to wananchi to say we want to change 255. That's one of the provisions. You still must go to wananchi for a referendum. But the other question is, if it is something that must master, and I think it must, public legitimacy. So
the proposals by Kenya Kwanza government are likely to be presented in Parliament as soon as members resume their sitting mid next month. Elizabeth Mutuko, TV47, Nairobi.
Now to matters security. In a tough talking tone, the Cabinet Secretary of Interior, Kithure Kindiki, has declared banditry a threat to the national security. Speaking in Baringo County today, Kindiki further noted that the government will use all resources in its disposal to flush out the bandits. This even as locals and leaders alike in the Kerio Valley are calling for disarmament. Take a look.
Saturday at 8 a.m. The Cabinet Secretary of Interior, Kithure Kindiki, touched down at the Kampia Samaki airstrip, Baringo County, where he was flanked by officials in the ministry and area leaders. The tough-talking Kindiki issuing a stern warning to bandits who have been terrorizing residents in the Kerio Valley. His message to them:
the government is declaring banditry an existential threat to the country's future, and we are going to move in and apply every human resource we have, every weapon we have. We'll get out of the armory, we will go by land, we will go by air, we will follow them to wherever they go.
Fresh attacks have left more than 10 people dead and hundreds of livestock stolen, with many families displaced in Kerio Valley since the year began, with area leaders call for disarmament.
Tuseme kwa ukweli, civilians having guns ni makosa. Aidha kazi yake ni kuua mtu ama ni kunyang'anya mtu mali yake. Sijui ni kazi gani ya bunduki. So if you can be able to do a special unit with specific timelines kufanya hii kazi, tuwe tunakuja kuuliza hawa, tulisema tarehe fulani utakuwa umefanya hii, then we can be able to achieve.
And I'm happy today, hiyo mambo rais alitueleza tukiwa Ikulu, leo Kindika kwa hapa ako na full brief kuhakikisha kwamba Baringo hii itakuwa na usalama.
Kindiki's visit comes amid uproar from locals and leaders who had in the recent past urged him to tour the banditry-prone areas in a move that will show the government's efforts in restoring peace.
And still on the same matters, more than 10 schools in Chesagon, along West Pokot and Elgeyo Marakwet counties more than 10 schools in Chesagon along West Pokot and Elgeyo Marakwet county borders are yet to resume with learning a week after the official reopening of schools. This is due to high cases of insecurity in the area, where scores have been shot and killed, with hundreds of livestock stolen by suspected bandits. On a special piece tonight, we look at the current situation at the area, which has now become a battlefield between residents and bandits. The feature was produced by Andrew Juma.
Our journey of about 200 kilometers from Kapengure town to Chesagon took us about 2.5 hours. We set out to witness the real situation on the ground firsthand on the state of education in the area in the wake of the latest string of banditry attacks. On our way, under the escort of police officers, we see families fleeing to relatively safer places as suspected armed bandits continue on the killing spree. We meet Bilal Ruto and his wife, Emily Cherotich, who say they are taking the dangerous journey after their home was ambushed 2 days ago.
Area imekuwa mbaya, watu wamehamahama, mpaka mimi mwenyewe sasa hivi vile niko na hama. Watu wamelala msituni. Watu njaa imeshinda watu wamekaa kwa milima kama nyani, watu wanakufa na njaa. Kama kuna chakula tu kaunti kidogo, msaidie watu ya huko.
Naomba tu serikali watusaidie mambo ya chakula na security area yetu.
Bilal says they are saddened as they left behind their neighbors who were also attacked by the bandits.
Ile kitu imechangia shida ni mambo ya KBR. Sasa tunaomba serikali mtupee KBR pia ili mambo iweze kupunguka. Kwa sababu tumefunga mashule, shule ya Abdul Primary wamefunga mpaka ya Abdul Girls. Shule 7 wamefunga saa hii. Ni shida ile imechangia ni mambo ya mapunduki yenye walileta juzi. Sasa ile kitu huko tunawaomba kama serikali mchukueni vitu, la sivyo mtupee yetu ili naye tujikinge na hiyo pia.
On landing at Chesagon, our worst fears are confirmed. We are welcomed by padlocks. Schools here are pale shadows of their former selves a week after learning resumed countrywide. Learners and teachers staying away. This is despite closing earlier than their counterparts due to banditry.
Ndio mtu mmoja alikuwa anatoka Pandile na ndugu yake akipeleka ng'ombe anataka kwenda kuuza Lomut. Akapikwa hapa kwa shule Cheptulel Boys, kati ya Cheptulel Boys na Cheptulel Primary. Wakafunga jamaa na kaua. Na kachukua ng'ombe. Na hiyo ng'ombe ilipofika njiani, watu hastu wakapika punduki ile kubwa, wakawacha ng'ombe wakatoroka. Jamaa amekufa. Juzi tarehe 23 mwezi wa 1 2023 wakaenda Kerio, hapa Rifa Kerio, watu ya Margaret, wakachukua ng'ombe, wakaua watu, wakajaribu kunyang'anya watu mali yao, wakakongwa watatu, Margaret watatu wakufa huko, na wakaleta hiyo ng'ombe mpaka hapa Kapen. Hiyo ng'ombe iko Kapen location, Kapena sublocation. Sasa on that note, ningependa naomba sana serikali ya kwamba kama hawana nafasi ya kukuja kuandikia mashule yetu askari ya kuwalinda mchana na usiku, basi waziri huyo afanye haraka iwezekanavyo, hata chini ya siku 2 aweze kuwapatia wapokoti wale NPR kama wale wengine.
In this area alone, over 10 schools are yet to reopen. We are told that teachers have decided to avoid schools, fearing for their lives, after the bandits started attacking schools late last year as they turned the Kerio Valley into a rustler's paradise.
Mama na mtoto mdogo analala pangoni. Na unajua pangoni iko nyoga, iko kila kitu ndani. Sasa njaa inatuua kwa ule msituni na sisi wamama ndio tumeumia zaidi. Tafadhali serikali, kimbia kwa hii maneno, mkuja muangalie, mtatue ni maneno sana. La sivyo mkuja muhamisha sisi West Pokot tuende hapa penye mko. Ndio hii mambo tuone vile itaendelea. Ama mkuja muishi huku sisi tuende. Tafadhali jameni, tumepoteza watu wengi sana kwa sababu ya bunduki. Na bunduki si suluhisho ya maisha.
Mambo ya insecurity. Jana juzi nilikuwa Kapengure Hospital. Watu waliwawa kule Cheseburu. Na tunaambiwa ile bunduki ilitumika ni ile ya serikali. Na hiyo ni makosa kwa sababu wakati serikali inafaa ichunge kila mtu. Mambo ya insecurity. Jana juzi nilikuwa Kapengure Hospital. Watu waliwawa kule Cheseburu. Na tunaambiwa ile bunduki ilitumika ni ile ya serikali. Na hiyo ni makosa kwa sababu wakati serikali inafaa ichunge kila mtu.
Nilisema wakati nilikuwa hapa ya kwamba mambo ya wizi ya ng'ombe tutaikomesha katika taifa letu la Kenya. Na sio tafadhali. Hiyo tutaikomesha. Kwa sababu tunataka watoto wetu wote waende shule, wasome. Tunataka wananchi wetu washughulike na mambo ya mifugo yao, na mambo ya kilimo, na mambo ya uchumi, ndio tuweze kujenga Kenya yenye msingi ambayo kila Mkenya bidii yake na juhudi yake itamwezesha kuendesha maisha yake, tukisaidia kama serikali ya Kenya. Bwana County Commissioner na jeshi yako ya Regional Commissioner, Assistant County Commissioner, Assistant Chiefs, pamoja na Chiefs na watu wa nyumba 10, Januari tunataka hiyo shule zote iwe imefunguliwa na watoto wako shuleni.
This is despite a directive by President William Ruto on the 22nd of December to reopen schools closed due to banditry by January. On our way to assess the extent of the disheartening situation, we see this stick on the way that I am told was a walking stick belonging to a man who was shot dead last week while on his way home.
So tunahitaji usaidizi, na hata rais mwenyewe anajua sisi tunachungwa. Tulifanya uchaguzi juzi kwa uzuri na sisi hatukutarajia kupigwa makofi kama hii.
We arrive at Cheptilel Boys High School where it is a case of same script as the one at Cheptilel Primary. Classrooms are all closed and no one is around, even the gateman. West Pokot County Commander Peter Katam says the security apparatus in the area are on top gear to ensure they restore peace and normalcy in the area.
So far kwa miezi 6 iliyopita tumeweza kupata bunduki 40 na risasi zaidi ya 300. Hizo bunduki 40 ni AK 47 38 alafu G3 2. So tunataka tukusema kwamba hiyo disarmament inaendelea.
Leaders in this county are now calling on the Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki to move with speed and collect firearms from the NPR, whom they have accused of being the main cause of insecurity in the area.
I will challenge the leadership. Kiongozi na ndugu yangu Mheshimiwa Kajapin, sanya hii wanaume na wanawake wenye wanaanza kurukaruka pande hii tanafika siasa, endeni ongelesha raia. Mtu mwenye ana tabia mbaya onyesha kwa polisi.
Ukipata waziri Kindiki
ambaye juzi alikuja akapenda bunduki kwa majirani yetu Marakwet ya NPR na akakosa kutupatia upande hii. Ambia hiyo ilikuwa makosa. Hiyo imeleta changamoto hapa na hiyo ni makosa. Kama watu wanapewa bunduki katika Kenya hii, watu wote wapewi.
Kwa hivyo nataka tuniambie hao wachipange. Wasifikiri kwamba ukiwapatia one side wale wengine nao watalala. Hata shetani naye atasaidia wale wengine kupata nguvu. Hata na Mungu pia. Sasa tunaomba. Nimekaa na nimejua vile mambo na kuanga. Ukifinya mtu ndio utafinywa side baadaye.
Well, thank you, Andrew Juma, for following up on that, and hopefully things will restore back to normal. Now, people living with, or rather people with disabilities and mothers who saw bids in Matapato South Ward, Namanga, Kerio County, today had the opportunity to participate in a session with the leaders to discuss the challenges they experience as persons able differently. The session was specifically to motivate them to be in the front line to defend their rights as well as to empower them in their daily duties. I am Manuel with more.
Persons living with disability from Matapato Ward in Namanga, Kerio County, today converged for this engagement with the area MCA David Muntukei on how they can be empowered.
Ni ya muhimu kwa sababu wamekuwa empowered kwa njia ya kujiregister wale ambao hawajasajiliwa katika idara yao ya serikali.
Hata tunajua kupitia hii mambo imeongelewa hapa leo, tutaendelea kuwa mzuri. Tunataka kusema tutatoa watoto wetu wengi, kwa maana watoto wengi wetu wamekuwa manyumbani, wamefichwa na wazazi wao kwa maana wanaogopa kuwatoa. Lakini tutatembea kwa mmoja tukisema watolewe sasa, kwa maana serikali imekuja kutabua wao.
They came here showcasing that disability is indeed not inability. Just like this group, which engages in bidding, they tells us how they attained some level of economic empowerment.
Na tuko registers, tuko chini ya cooperative. Kwa hivyo sisi ni wamama ambao tunaendelea, na ndani ya hiyo ushanga yetu tunakuaga na merry-go-round, tunakuaga na kusave pesa zetu, tunafanyanga harambee kwa mwaka, kwa kila mwaka, ili tunawekaga savings zetu ya shilingi 50 kwa kila siku, ili ikifika siku ya mwisho wa mwaka tunafanya harambee ndio tuweze kupeleka watoto wetu shule.
Muntukei now saying that search for a will be the norm and he plans to ensure that the rights of the disabled are respected.
Tumeweza pata majadiliano na wao, tumesikia, na hivyo tutarudi kama committee sasa kufanya participation. Ya hii ya leo ilikuwa tu visiting na pia kuwa empower.
Muntukei has urged those who are yet to receive new cards for the disabled to make sure they acquire so as they can receive special assistance from the government. Haimba Emmanuel, TV47, Kerio County.
Right, thank you for that, Emmanuel Haimba. Now into the wonderful world of sports, and we start with some FKF action. Elvis Rupia was earlier today in fine form as he scored the quickest hat-trick in the league in the recent times to help Kenya Police FC sink Tusker FC 3-0 in the match day 13 of the FKF Premier League at the Kasarani Stadium. Rupia opened the scoring only 2 minutes into play before extending the lead for Police 12 minutes later after latching onto a Boniface Onyango mistake to fire home the second goal. Rupia sealed his hat-trick 2 minutes later from a throw-in that saw him breaking into a counter-attack before finishing and securing maximum points for Police. Elsewhere, Kariobangi Sharks played out to 1-1 draw with Bidco United. Kakamega Homeboys wrote Mathare United 5-1, while Nzoia Sugar edged Ulinzi Stars 2-1.
Kupiga sabu kwa sababu kuna jana pia tulikuwa nafaa tutoe before hata bao ingie, so ndio bao kaingia bahati mbaya, lakini hivyo hivyo tukafanya nini, tukasema tutapiga hiyo sabu kwa sababu ilikuwa ni sabu pia ndio kuchange game hapo ndani. Ukiangalia tutupiingiza pia wamejaribu pia kulingana na vile tunacheza, so ni game imekuwa nzuri na ni game pia tuliplania vizuri.
Lazima uaccept hiyo lose, lazima uaccept kwa sababu pia si Nzoia kuanzia mwanzo mpaka mwisho leo wao ndo wamecheza mpira, si hatukuwa vizuri kwa ufupi. So mimi nimeikubali kama coach, nimeikubali, so naenda tena kwa drawing board nihakikishe nitapata vipi win.
And finally, round 7 of the FKF Women Premier League went underway earlier today with 2 matches slated for action in various stadia across the country. Wadadia edged Ulinzi Starlets 1-0 at the Ulinzi Sports Complex.
Dangerous, my friend. Come on. Nice one.
Za game 6 tumeshinda game 3. Kulingana na mimi niko na squad young, so ni positive results kwangu. So wakinipea time watoto wangu watawaka. Ukiona tumecheza na timu kubwa, Ulinzi si timu ndogo, na tumekuwa away, tumetoka na point 3. So nashukuru sana wachezaji wangu na nashukuru pia technical bench na ofisi kwa support yao kufika hapa.
Kafanyika, our next 2 matches ni ngumu zaidi because it is against Fingard Gospel. And up to now we have a long way to go because tulikuwa tunako destiny to win the league, but now the challenge is because I feel if our opponent tomorrow they wins, then the gap will be more than almost 9 points. So tuko na kazi mingi ya kufanya.
And we are done. Now, I want you to put everything aside and ease up a little. If you're in the sitting room, put all the seats beside you